Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with the second part of our 2023 Halloween special, Wendell and Wild. So this is an animated stop motion movie that was released last year. Um, I know very little about it other than I know it stars Key and Peele. I combined their names there. It stars Key and Peele. I know they play like demons or something. And that's about it. I know what the main character looks like. I've seen what the animation looks like, but I don't really know what the story's about at all. I don't know much of anything about how things go down. Um, but I am interested because this movie has gotten some pretty good reviews, and I've been wanting to check it out, just never got around to being able to do so. And so when I was determining what I was going to do for the Halloween special, I decided, you know what, let's just do it. Let's get to this for the special. I think it would work, and so we're doing it. Yeah, I don't know exactly what to expect. It's about an hour 45 minutes long, but that's including credits, of course. Uh, I'm just hoping I like it. I guess we'll see. Again, not knowing too much about movies is definitely preferable. Going into it as blind as possible allows for just, in my opinion, a better reaction from me and a better experience for the viewers. So let's just get into this, hope for the best, and see what we have in store. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, it's been hard to believe, but 13 years since Henry Sellick's last film, which was Coraline in 2009. That was 13 years ago. Well, 13 years between when this came out. It's 14 years now. Um, to be completely fair and honest here, it was 13 years between the releases of Coraline and Wendell and Wild. Um, and it is only, it might surprise you, it's only the fifth movie that Henry Selick has directed. Um, because he did The Nightmare Before Christmas in 93, James and the Giant Peach in 96, Monkey Bone in 01, and Coraline in 09, and now Wendell and Wild. Um, and honestly, out of all of these, which I have seen all of these now, by the way, there's like a hair sticking like down in front of my face. The only one that could kind of be seen as lesser is Monkey Bone, which was a combination live action, stop motion, all that jazz. Um, and that's the only one that could kind of be seen as weaker. All the others are fantastic films. And that includes Wendell and Wild. Like, you go into a Henry Selick film and you kind of expect greatness. And with the rave reviews that this film has gotten, I went into this expecting it to be good. Or at the very least, hoping. At the very least, I hoped that this would be as good as Henry Selick's previous works. And it was. Um, I think this movie was fantastic, from the storytelling to the character work, the animation, obviously, the voice acting, even like the messages and ideas behind it, the themes and concepts. You could say that this movie does have some more politically charged theming than previous Henry Selick films, more so than any of them. But honestly, a lot of movies nowadays do. And especially movies that are, you know, involving Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele's kind of pretty well known for integrating that into movies, and I believe let me check here to be safe. I believe he was producer on this. He helped write the screenplay with Selleck. Yep, and they are both producers. Yes, yes, yes. Um, so it's honestly just as much his movie as it is Henry Selick's. And so it makes perfect sense that these kinds of themes and all would be in here. Um, on top of, like, you know, classic themes that you would see in a Henry Selick film like family and whatnot. You have themes of anti-capitalism. You have themes of anti religion, honestly. Um, you have themes of all kinds of things. Queer acceptance is a big thing in here, with one of the characters being a trans man who only once is ever, like, dead named, and it is, and the character who does it, Siobhan, instantly apologizes and corrects herself. And at the only other points where it's kind of implied that that's happening, like when his mom is on the phone and all, you only hear his mom's side, and you hear her stand up for him, and, like, how do I put it? um, make sure that the person on the other end understands that he's a boy and everything, and that his name is Raul. It's it shows a lot of acceptance, and most people in this just see him as Raul, as a boy. No one really ever questions that otherwise. There are a couple moments, and honestly, yeah, it makes sense to include those moments in there. But for the most part, it's accepted. No one cares. And I like that. I've always said how I prefer a lot of times when movies do just have it normalized, or shows. But I also do like it sometimes when you do tackle the issues that trans people do go through. And this one kind of does feature both, but mostly normalization. Um, this is really good. It also dealt with self-hatred and self-blame and guilt based on traumatic, tragic events. And yeah, it's just really interesting. If I had to say, like, one negative towards this movie, it would be that I feel like there were too many villains in the film. Like, because you have Wendell and Wild's father, you have the capitalist swine, and you have James Hong. And all of them are good in their roles. All of them are really good for what they are, and for how they're written and acted and everything. But it does kind of feel like you didn't really need all of them. I kind of feel like if you had to take one of them out, it would be James Hong's character. Well, not even necessarily take him out, but remove him from the role of villain slash antagonist and whatnot. I feel like that just wasn't entirely necessary to have him be another antagonist. Um, Keeping Wendell Wild's father, as well as the capitalist, having one, like, demon villain and one set of human villains, I think that would work. I think that's okay. That can be handled properly. But adding in a second, like, human villain just doesn't really need to happen, and it makes it feel a little cluttered. Um, I also feel like Siobhan's friends are just kind of there. Like they don't even really help in the end. It's just really Siobhan who helps. The other two are just they just kind of disappear after a certain point. Um, it's mostly Siobhan who's the notable one because of she is the daughter of the two capitalist swines. So it makes sense, but I almost feel like they didn't need to be there. Like you could have taken them out as well, and it wouldn't have really affected much. You could have just had it be like just Siobhan. Um, but other than like little stuff like that, which is honestly pretty minor, like I don't really have a complaint here. Um, and that doesn't mean like this movie is necessarily the best I've seen this year or anything. It just means that it doesn't really have much for me to find fault in. There is a difference, believe it or not. Just because I don't find much fault in this doesn't mean that the highs are as high as other movies' highs are. Yeah, I said that right. um, Other movies are still a little better than this, but honestly, I really loved this. I thought this was great for the season, obviously. Very Halloweeny. Not just, like, obviously horror inspired, which obviously Henry Sellick is great at, considering Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline. But it's not just, like, very horror inspired. It's very Halloweeny specifically. You know what I mean? Like, Halloweeny is, like, a very specific feeling that a movie can have. Obviously, you have stuff like Hocus Pocus and Halloween Town, which are like, they don't even pretend to hide that. But, like, you watch some horror movies, and it's like, you could watch this at any time. It's not really a Halloween horror movie, necessarily. Like, you can watch Scream at any time. You can watch, Nightmare on Elm Street anytime. Even if they include Halloween in them and all. But you watch a movie like The Nightmare Before Christmas, there's really only 2 times a year that it makes sense to watch that. Halloween and Christmas time. Because it's very much that kind of movie. Wendell and Wild, I feel, is like one of those movies that is a very Halloween-oriented movie. It just has that vibe to it. It has that feeling. I haven't seen much of Key and Peele's stuff. Like, I've only seen like clips here and there. Um, this kind of makes me want to check out some of Key and Peele. I know their show is on Netflix, so maybe I'll check that out. Probably on my own time, but I don't know. Maybe I could do a first impression of it or something. um, but yeah, there's a lot that I am very excited for with this movie. It's just, it's not even like entirely easy for me to verbalize. A lot of it is just like you just have to watch it to understand. I do love like the kind of messages. Dog might start barking inside. I do love the kind of messages about having to let go as well, because Kat very much couldn't let go of the fact that her parents had died and that she blamed herself for it. So there was a big theme in her having to let go of the past and of what had happened in order to just move on. Told you. In order to move on and get to a better point in her life. And she was able to do so by the end. The interesting thing is, this movie almost kind of sets itself up for the idea of like it could have a sequel. Like you could very much see there being a continuation to this, but at the same time, it very much doesn't need one. Like, Henry Selick has not had any sequels. Again, 5 movies. None of them have had a sequel, and honestly, none of them need one. Um, but this is the first one I honestly believe feels like it could have one. Nightmare Before Christmas, no. Everything that needed to be done in that movie was done. It never felt like it set up for a sequel. James and the Giant Peach, nope. Definitely does not need a sequel. Monkey Bone, Coraline, neither of them really feel like a sequel would make sense. Wendell and Wild's the only one where it's like, oh, I could see this having a sequel. It doesn't need to, and I don't think it necessarily should, but I could see it based on where it leaves off and everything. There's a lot more they could do to explore the underworld shown in this version. I guess one other like little thing I could complain about is it did feel a little easy for them to defeat Wendell and Wild's father. Defeat in quotes. But it was actually set up. It didn't come out of nowhere. If it came out of nowhere, I feel like it would have been worse. But it very much was set up. He had said earlier and everything, like, that they were his last kids. And it was made very clear that he was punishing them in the first place because he felt like they were betraying him and leaving him. And so that's why he also got angry when he found out that they did leave and go to the human world. It's made very clear that he is seemingly kind of scared of that happening. And we eventually find out why. Because all of their siblings had left, and from what he has seen, from what he had known, just never came home. Just never even tried to come back again. And yeah, it happens very quickly that it's revealed that the demons that Manberg had captured were the children. But again, this was set up that he had been capturing these demons and everything. So it doesn't come out of nowhere. Everything is set up and built up to. So I can kind of appreciate that. It did feel a little easy. It did feel like they stopped him and kind of redeemed him, I guess you could say, really easily. But again, the fact that it was set up really well ahead of time makes it work. It makes it work. So yeah, I very much enjoyed this. This is a movie I would definitely be willing to watch again, and I probably will. I don't know if there's other people who have done reactions to it, but I'm definitely going to look. I'm going to look for reviews and everything. And I might end up watching this with my sister at some point. But in the meantime, let me know what you thought of Wendell and Wild in the comments below. Tell me how you enjoyed this film, combining theming of Jordan Peele with the classic whimsical wonder of Henry Sellick. And just as a reminder, let me get this up real quick. Next week's Halloween special reaction will be Scream 6, the newest Scream movie that came out earlier this year. This is one that I wanted to see in theaters originally, but because I didn't, I eventually decided, it's like, you know what? We're going to have a Halloween special later this year. I'm just going to do it for that. Because we did Scream last year, I believe, for the Halloween special, right? So why not do this one this year? It makes sense. So yeah, that will be our Halloween special reaction for next week. But like I said, in the meantime, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this movie of Wendell and Wild. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.